All right. So, welcome back to the Stop Feeling Like Shit podcast. And today we're going to learn about how Dr. Buzz, personal and professional, how it led him to where he is today.
I'm excited to be here too, for sure.
Yes, me too.
So how did I end up where I'm at today? That's a great question. So I think we all have our journey, right? So, and I also feel like life happens for you, not to you, and we all kind of where we're supposed to, where we're supposed to be, but the how we get there is definitely not a straight line. So, my story is, I probably, if you'd asked me in high school if I was going to be a physician, I would say no. I don't know what I was going to be, honestly. I was any high school kid, but I knew I wanted to go to college, and I knew I wanted to have a good career. So I went to University of Florida, did really well there. And my plan really when I got out there was either to go to law school or to get a job. And kind of along those lines, everything kind of happens for a reason. It was my senior year, and I started to look for different career opportunities and stuff. And I actually had some pretty decent job offers, but I also had a shoulder injury. And I was always really into working out. And the shoulder injury was bothering the heck out of me. And I was raised pretty traditional medicine. I've had all my vaccines. When you get sick, you take a pill for this or that. And there's not that my family was wrong, but that's just the way we were. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people are. They didn't know any better.
So were we.
Yeah. So, so I would, my shoulder hurt. My mom's like, well, go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor. I had a cortisone shot in my shoulder when I was, 17 years old or 18 years old, whatever I was at the time, which, knowing what I know now, is a terrible thing to do because it numbed the pain in my shoulder, then ended up tearing my pec.
And were you playing sports or?
At that point there, no. I was just, kind of recreationally working out. I always enjoyed fitness, right? So, but the shoulder injury was really getting me down because I love to work out. But, when you have shoulder pain, it bothered me when I was sleeping. It bothered me all the time. And I didn't want to quit working out, so I didn't give it a proper break. So the doctor's like, oh, don't worry. We'll just do this cortisone shot. You'll be fine. I remember the shot hurt like hell. But I was able to work out within a couple of days afterwards. I remember going back to the gym and saying, hey, this is freaking great. I can work out. No big deal. And then a month later, I partially tore my pec. Just because of the damage the cortisone caused. And someone at that age should never get a cortisone shot, especially if they're just recreationally working out. So on one of my trips back home, there was a chiropractor I knew that worked out at the same gym I did, Dr. Seema, great guy. And, kind of explained to him, he's, oh, hey, Buzzy, why'd you get a cortisone shot? You should do that. Come to the office and let me see if I can help you out. And I'm thinking, what the hell is a chiropractor going to do for my shoulder? But he's a nice enough guy. So I went to his office and went there, and, he had a massage therapist. They did some deep tissue work on it. He had some type of laser, which at the time I didn't even know what the heck it was. He did laser on it and some other therapies, and the shoulder actually started getting better. And I didn't even understand, what's the, how's this the case? And why didn't the other doctor tell me? He's like, well, he called me Buzzy. He's like, the way we look at things is a little differently. When you go to a regular physician, not that there's anything wrong with that, but what they do is you have a symptom and they think, what can they do to get rid of the symptom? Mm-hmm. Not what they can do to fix the problem. And there's a huge difference in that. So, it's kind of like when your check engine light comes on in your car, that's a symptom, something's wrong with the car. You could put a black tape over the check engine light and keep driving, and that gets rid of the symptom, but does it fix the problem?
Right. And
that's the same way a lot of traditional medicine is. When you have shoulder pain or pain anywhere in your body, you get an injection of some type to get rid of the pain, but it doesn't fix the underlying problem. And worse than that, it actually sets you up for future injuries. So if you put tape over the check engine light, keep driving the car, you're more likely to mess up the engine. Mm-hmm. The same thing happens with your body. So that just made a lot of sense to me. So I'm thinking to myself, this guy's really healthy. This really makes sense to me. I never even thought of it that way. But I'm getting ready to graduate, and I had a couple job offers. And, anyone that goes through college knows that it's hard. When you go through college, you're dirt poor. I didn't have anything. So you have the opportunity to make a little bit of money. Do I take this job and, get a new car, get some new, get some nice stuff? Or do I commit to going to another 4 years of school and going more in debt? And I just kind of, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing it. I'm going off to school. So I think my parents were pretty shocked that I was going on this route. And my dad was like, go to medical school. If you're going to go to 4 more years, why would you want to be a chiropractor? Go to medical school. Just because he didn't understand. So kind of against the, what he had recommended, not that he meant bad by it. And what all my friends were doing, because all my friends were going out and getting jobs and doing whatever. I decided to commit to another 4 years of school. So that's the beginning of how this all started. So, and then from there, within chiropractic school, I loved it because in chiropractors, like a lot of functional medicine doctors, chiropractors, naturopaths, they believe in different things. They believe the body always heals itself. And that's a true thing. If someone's alive, you have the ability to heal. So when, I think on the drive over today, we were talking, someone sent you a text about some type of condition, which they were struggling with. And, you got to look at every condition someone has, what causes it, and why is the body not fixing it? Instead of thinking, what medication can I take to mask it? And that's what we learned in chiropractic school, obviously just for spinal stuff at that point. But kind of, what we're doing at Buckeye now and what we train other physicians is pretty much any condition someone has, there's always a solution that helps the body heal itself. And whether it's chiropractic, physical therapy, maybe regen med, maybe functional medicine, there's lots of different tools out there that are in our toolbox. But don't accept, I was talking to a patient last night, this guy, type A personality, builds golf courses all over the world. He's like, I just don't feel good anymore. And, my doc said, maybe, that's what happens when you turn 50. And I'm thinking to myself, that's a pretty crappy reality, that when you're 50, you should feel terrible, And I said, well, the way I kind of look at things is, obviously as we get older, things potentially need more care. Kind of like we have a 67 Camaro, right? Mm-hmm. So, but that 67 Camaro is probably nicer than most people's new cars. But obviously, it required a lot of maintenance to keep it there. Mm-hmm. But just because something's older doesn't mean it can't be just like new. And I feel that way with your health. I'm 53, about to be 54, and I'm as strong as I've ever been. I'm in great shape. And I do everything that I want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about working out. I mean, if you like running, you should be able to run. If you like, whatever it is, pickleball, whatever. But just because you're older doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
Now, you might require a little more maintenance for it. You might have to take different supplements. You might, have to see a chiropractor, a physical therapist, or whatever you have to do, take some type of medication or whatever to keep there. But age is really not an excuse. And I really think, these days you can be in really good health doing whatever you want, well into your 70s, even in 80s, if you just take care of yourself, eat the proper foods,
sunlight, sleep,
all these things, right? They're very important, so age is definitely not an excuse in my book. And that's what, people say, what kind of stuff you do at Buckeye? And, probably the wrong term is to say I'm selfish. I'm not selfish, but everything we do there, a lot of the things I do because I want to do it myself, like whether it's PMF therapy, laser therapy, these are all things that I want for myself. So we share them with our patients.
Yeah, and I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was telling me about an issue she had with her neck or back, and I told her she should go see a chiropractor. And then her response was, I don't need adjusted. So a lot of people think that chiropractors only do adjustments. So can you tell me how chiropractors these days have evolved?
Yeah, and the knock on chiropractors is there's not a consistency in chiropractors. So when you go to a medical doctor, you get the same thing every time. You go to a physical therapist, you get the same thing every time. Chiropractors is a pretty big difference. Some chiropractors just adjust. Some chiropractors only use instruments to adjust. Some chiropractors use just supplementation. Some chiropractors like medical doctors. Some chiropractors don't like medical doctors. So I can't really put a blanket statement on what chiropractors do and don't do because there isn't consistency, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of one of the good things, but one of the bad things about the profession. And that's why I think a lot of medical doctors are averse to referring to chiropractors, because if they refer to a PT, you know what you're going to get, even though it might not help for what they're doing. At least you're going to go there to give them some exercises. Worst case scenario, it won't make it worse. It might not help, but it might not make it worse. Where the chiropractor, what are you going to get? Mm-hmm. So unfortunately you don't know, but I can just tell you how we handle it at Buckeye. Buckeye, we have chiropractors, and we do physical therapy, we have medical providers, and we all work as a team because chiropractors are really good at some stuff, but we're not good at other stuff. And medical providers are really good at some stuff, but they're not good at other stuff. So, we try to integrate we do functional medicine, we do traditional medicine, we do chiropractic, we do physical therapy, because all of those modalities or all of those things do have benefit, but it's not a one size shoe fits all. Mm-hmm. So we really try to integrate and work all those together. So when someone comes in with a problem, we look at, well, okay, what caused the problem and what tool would be the best to get the body to heal itself?
Yeah.
That's how we look at it.
That's great.
So, and you could tell, what's your experience? So, we've been together for some time now, and I know we both got to where we're at, helping people, but kind of different paths, right? So let's talk about your path a little bit here.
Okay. So when I was in high school, I used to go to the nursing home where my grandma worked, and I'd volunteer. And basically, I loved, being in the nursing home to help people. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to school to be a nurse. And then as I got older, I realized that I really couldn't deal with snot and vomit and mucus. So I thought this is probably not the path for me.
It's not for everybody.
No. So when I was about 19 years old, I wanted to work out because I just knew I wanted to always kind of be slim. And I just knew I didn't want to be, a big girl. I just wanted to be slim. And so I decided I'm going to go work out. And I went to the gym, and I believe it was the YMCA. And I walked in. I didn't know how to do anything at all. And I got on the elliptical for about 25, 30 minutes, and I just stared at people. And I was staring at them not to judge them, but I was staring at them to try to learn what muscle groups are they working out, like how many reps are they doing. And I started to watch people. And I think I would go to the gym and just do the elliptical for probably a week or two straight. And then I started to really Google beginner workouts. So that's how I really got into fitness, is by just watching people and learning what they were doing. And then I kind of became obsessed because I learned that if you were consistent in the gym, your body starts to change. And I started to see muscles. So I really became obsessed with the body and the muscles. And so when I wanted to go to college, I picked Ohio State University, and I wanted to focus on the body and the muscles. So I went to school for exercise and kinesiology.
So you loved it then?
I loved it. Yeah. So I wanted to be fit. I loved the muscles, and I loved working out and training. So after I graduated from college, I actually did a total 360, and I went into real estate, and I started doing real estate title insurance. And that's what I did for the last 15 years of my career until obviously, recently I resigned. And, but what really made me resign is that the job became very stressful to me. And with stress, it really did a number on me. But prior to that, when I was about 24 years old, I was working probably 17-hour days, 7 days a week. And all of a sudden, I started to feel kind of fatigued, irritated, almost like depressed-like symptoms I had. I thought I was depressed. And the first thing I did, I wanted to feel good. I thought, what can I do to feel better?
Right.
So I was calling all these doctors. Like, I don't feel good.
Were you raised pretty traditional medical also then?
Yes. So anything my mom could do to take us to the doctor, we were going, right? You got your shots. You're getting medication. If you have a headache, you got to go to the emergency room. So, yeah. So I ended up finding a doctor, and I went to him and I said, look, there's something wrong with me. Like, I'm upset a lot, or I'm crying, or I don't feel good. I can't be around people. And as much as I loved fitness, because I work out 6 days a week, as you know, I didn't even want to go to the gym. I could not go to the gym. I couldn't be around people.
Burn out.
And so, exactly. But at the time, I wouldn't have known that. And he said, you know what? You're depressed. And he's like, and you have mood issues. I was like, oh, mood issues, probably. I don't know. I'm female.
Don't all women have mood issues?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay. So I thought, you know what? I am depressed then, because I'm listening to this doctor tell me that I'm depressed. And he has the medical degree to tell me so. So I must be. And he's like, you know what? You're going to take this medication and you're going to feel better. I was like, okay, great. So I was so excited because I'm a very positive, upbeat person. I love to work. I like to be around people. I'm a people person. And when I started taking the medication, they were antidepressants, and I felt worse. So I took them, and I noticed that I started to cry a lot. I'd have to go take a break from work and sit in the car and cry, or I also noticed that I didn't really like myself. And I thought, what is going on here? I was like, why isn't this working? And I couldn't understand why it wasn't
How
working.
long were you on the meds for?
I was probably taking those for about 6 months.
Okay.
And so I had a really hard time because I was doing what he was telling me to do, but I couldn't even leave my house. So I ended up just locking myself in my house for a few months. I couldn't work out. I couldn't be around people. I couldn't talk to people. And I was trying so hard to get better by taking this medication, but I realized the pills were making me worse.
Right.
And for the first time in my life, I thought about things that I shouldn't think about, harming myself, very low in myself. And I realized these pills were doing that to me. And so sometimes you hear people that are on antidepressants get worse and they actually harm themselves.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to quit taking them. And I tried to stop taking them cold turkey, and I ended up getting really sick. So I realized I had
Like
to...
physically sick?
Yeah.
Wow.
Vomiting, almost like withdrawals. You become very addicted to the medication. And so after I started to wean myself off the medication, I had to cut the pills in half and then in thirds and in fourths. And finally, I quit taking the medication, and I was like, I have to get back into the gym, but I really didn't have the energy to work out. So I went to Bikram yoga, where nobody could talk to me. And it was silence. And for 90 minutes, you're just sweating your brains out.
It's hard.
Yeah. And so, but it was good for me because that was how I was learning to recover. And then I had a friend reach out to me, and he said, have you ever thought about getting your hormones checked? And I'm like, my hormones? No. What are your hormones even?
Right.
In school, you didn't learn that stuff, right? What are your hormones? Like, what do they do for you? Why are they important?
Right.
And so
a lot of the things people don't realize is the symptoms of hormone insufficiency and the symptoms for depression are like mirror images of each other.
Yeah, which I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have known. And when you go to your regular doctor and you're telling them your symptoms, they just want to give you this antidepressant or pill to cover up the symptom.
But we see that quite often at Buckeye. Well, someone will come in that with, the symptom. Remember, the symptoms of depression and hormone insufficiency are the same.
Yeah.
Low energy, low libido, difficulty focusing. It's the same for both. And what we see a lot is someone will come in and they'll go to a regular doctor first, and the regular doctor will be, well, Daniela, you're 25 years old. There's no way your hormones can be messed up. It's got to be depression.
Yep.
Or you're 30, 35. You don't have hormone issues till you're 50, so it just has to be depression. And they'll put you on these SSRIs or other medications. And they won't even test your hormones because how could you have hormone issues if you're young, which we know is not the case. And I wonder how many people are out there on these medications that don't even have depression issues or serotonin issues and really have hormonal issues, but they never even get tested.
Yeah, and if my friend wouldn't have mentioned that to me, who knows where it'd have been or ended up. But I said to him, I don't even know where you go, because all the times I've been to my regular, doctor, they've done my blood work, but they're not checking my hormones.
They don't check hormones, and I think part of the reason for that too is for a physician to manage your hormones, it takes a lot of work. Mm-hmm. So it's much easier to put you on an SSRI pill, which is a pill, take one pill a day or whatever you're doing. Hormones, there's no cookie cutter recipe for that. So you have to take blood work, put them on a low dose of hormones, check blood work again, 4 to 6 weeks later, see how their body assimilates those, increase or decrease dosage. Like there's more work involved, and a traditional medical office isn't set up to do that. Yeah.
And so he gave me some phone numbers. I went, they did my blood work, and they were pretty shocked, I guess, at my results. They started me on the pellets for hormones. Mm-hmm. And I know that my aunt and I were going to St. Thomas for my birthday in a couple of days. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to give it a try. So I gave the hormones a try, and it was probably 3 days, and I was like, wow. I was like, this is crazy. I felt great. I felt amazing.
Get the right treatment.
I was so happy. I had energy. I could talk to people. I felt awesome. And so hormones really changed my life. And I tell people that I'm still on hormone replacement therapy. It changed my life. I wouldn't even know where I'd be without it. So I think that's a big one for me. And then, so I've been on hormone replacement therapy for, probably 10 years. And I went from the pellets to the injections just because it was more consistent for me,
Right.
because of my lifestyle. And, with the real estate, I was working a lot of hours. And then so it was a very stressful time. And now I am where I am because I think I just decided I want to help people like you do. I want to share my experiences, and I want people to understand that, we can offer health and wellness treatments at our practice and give people the education that and the experiences I've been through and others, because a lot of people don't know these things.
Yeah, and especially, one of the fun things we get to do is we also work with a lot of different providers around the country.
Yeah.
So just kind of sharing, what's unique about us is, we have the office, so we're, at Buckeye, I probably the largest hormone practice in Ohio. I don't know, we have over 1,000 patients under, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So we have a lot of experience, and it does take experience to get good at that.
And can you just tell us, when you say bioidentical, because I know that there are some different types of hormones out there. So tell us what bioidentical means. Yeah,
so the difference between, we'll say bioidentical and a steroid would be bioidentical hormones are simply, when someone comes to us, number one, we only do it on people that need it. So step one is get your blood work done. So if you're listening and you're tired, don't have mental focus, have difficulty losing weight, low libido, come get a comprehensive blood work done. That's usually covered by your insurance, but if not, it's not that expensive. And test all your vitamin levels, all your hormone levels, and see what's lacking. And in a situation like yours, your hormones came back less than optimal. Mm-hmm. So bioidentical hormones, we simply replace what's missing with the exact same molecule that your body produces. So it's not synthetic, which would be different. Like an example, a lot of females have hot flashes, so their doctor will prescribe them Premarin, which is synthetic estrogen. Now, the problem with anything synthetic is the body knows it's synthetic, and it's kind of like trying to put a key in an ignition that's the wrong key. And the problem with that is it causes cancer and lots of other problems. The synthetic ones do. Mm-hmm. Where bioidentical hormones, since they're the exact hormone your body is not producing at a sufficient level, if anything, it decreases the risk of cancer, decreases the risk of heart disease. It makes you more optimal. So bioidentical means identically to what your body produces. Synthetic would be not identical, which we don't use any synthetic hormones at Buckeye.
Okay, perfect.
So that's a very important to distinguish, because Premarin, there's
I actually had a friend on that, and actually 2 people I know were on Premarin, and one of them was like losing her mind. And the other one ended up just, I don't know. I feel like she had depressed-like symptoms too, but.
And depression's real, so we're not here to say depression's not real. But what we're saying is, if you have those symptoms, get your blood work done, test your hormones. Yeah. Because just because you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, at this point here with the environment, and I don't know if it's the toxins we take in, lack of sunlight, who knows what it is. Age really has nothing to do with your hormones at this point. I think, people. We tested our son. He was what?
He was 16 at the time.
Yeah, 16, and his hormones were low. He had all these injuries. We just tested it on a fluke, and his hormones were low. And obviously, if someone that young, we don't have to put him on hormones. We just fix his adrenals, and he's fine. He got his hormones up. So not everyone goes on. There's other ways to get your hormones up other than bioidentical. But if you need bioidentical, we do that. If we fix your adrenals and that fixes you, we do that too. That's what another advantage of Buckeye. We have all these different tools to get your hormone levels where they need to be, if that's even an issue. But step one, do your blood work. The blood work never lies.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and then I, last July, I think the market was taking a dip, and I was still extremely stressed out with the work. And then my hair ended up falling out, and I was like, something's wrong. I feel off. And at that moment, I think we were getting into functional medicine, and we were going to be doing a mentorship with Dr. Dan Kalish. Mm-hmm. And so that was very fascinating to me, because it really figures out the root cause of a problem. And so I knew we have all these tools. I think I was getting my blood work done at the office. I was doing the adrenal test, organic acid test, a GI map. to figure out like, why is my hair falling out? Why do I feel this way? What's going on with me? And so that was very interesting and fun because it came out that, I had an autoimmune issue and some bugs in the stomach that I needed to take care of. So I kind of just knew at that moment that I needed to take a different career path in my life. And so that's what I did. Now I'm here with you, which is fun because I love what you do.
Although we do work a lot. We're on the phone every day from probably 9 until 7 at night with providers, patients.
But, to me,
it's not work.
It's not work. It's so fun. I love it. I like helping the providers. I like helping the nurse practitioners. I like us traveling. We get to go to a bunch of stuff that's fun. Mm-hmm. We get to see what the world's doing in the anti-aging space, right? Everybody loves anti-aging. It's sexy. So it is a lot of fun. But yeah, most people say, like, do you ever get tired of working? No, because it's not working. It's a lot of fun.
There's so much knowledge out there. I think we've been, like last night we were on the, doing not a podcast. We were doing a training till 9 o'clock at night last night.
Yeah.
So just so much to learn in so little time, but we want to share with our patients. I feel like every time we go through a new educational process, we learn so much more stuff, and I can't wait to do it on the patients. So it's so fun. And do it on myself, obviously. Remember, I'm greedy. Remember that. So everything I do on myself too.
Yeah. And I think that's why, this podcast is important because we're trying to reach everyone that we can, right? All the people we can reach, all the providers that will listen to us, because you have a ton of knowledge. Also, I wanted you to talk to us about your fellowship that you have in stem cells.
Yep. So I'm a closet nerd. I've done so pretty much I get OCD with stuff. So anytime,
by the way,
there's something I want to, I really get into it. Like with hormones, I went and got, certified in anti-aging medicine because that was a huge deal to me. Then I got into regen medicine, stem cells, PRP, A2M. So I went and got a fellowship in stem cell therapies. We're also in the middle of completing our fellowship with functional medicine right now, and I've already completed one with A4M, so we'll have 2 fellowships in that. And back to the chiropractic thing, standard chiropractic is great, but with disc injuries, getting adjusted is not always the best thing. Where decompression therapy is, so double board certified in disc therapy too. So kind of along those lines, anything that we do in the office, we make sure we're fully educated on, and we're only using the latest techniques. So. That's kind of the nerd factor in there. But like I said, I only want the best for myself and for my patients. So anything that we're doing, we it's definitely not willy nilly. We get all the proper education and try to bring the latest technologies. That's for sure.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, and so you were talking about PRP and A2M, and so for those of you, what do you treat PRP with?
So those are considered like regenerative medicine type things. So, platelet-rich plasma is something, basically you're taking a person's blood and getting that's probably the best way to explain it, getting the fertilizers or the growth factors out of their blood and concentrating them and putting them back into an area that's injured to help it heal. Mm-hmm. A2M is another product we make out of a person's own blood, where we're actually able to take this protein called alpha-2 macroglobulin, and this molecule stops the cause of arthritis. But the problem is it can't get to where the arthritis is at because it's too large of a molecule. It can't get into the joints. It's in your blood. So we're able to get this molecule, take the blood out of you, capture this protein molecule, and then inject it into areas where there's arthritis, and it literally stops arthritis at the molecular level. We can do a whole podcast on that. But it's kind of under the same thing, why does someone want to listen to this podcast? As a provider or a patient, if you want to really dig in deep and see the science on how you can get your body to heal itself, whether it's with regen medicine, hormone therapy, functional medicine, this is the place to be, because we're really going to focus on bringing the latest technologies and bringing speakers on here that, all of this is going to be, getting you not feeling like shit.
Yep.
But also more, the way you do that is get your body to heal itself.
Yeah.
Don't mask it.
Exactly.
So that's going to be the focus of the podcast, and I'm excited about it. We're going to nerd out on here, have some cool guests, share some really good factual based knowledge, and most importantly, help people get better.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I'm excited.
So I guess until next podcast.
Yeah.
Talk to you then.
Yeah. Bye.